The Sandman making his way down to ringside, accompanied by a woman. Sandman about to have his day in court to face Tommy Dreamer. And woman lights the fire of the Sandman. Tommy Dreamer was hiding underneath the ring. The Sandman has no idea where he is. And Tommy Dreamer has caned the Sandman across the back. The Sandman had no idea where Tommy Dreamer was. Dreamer now busted open the Sandman. The Sandman's face is turning blood red. Tommy Dreamer is hell-bent on revenge. There's no stopping Tommy Dreamer. Woman tried to stop Dreamer. Woman tried to take a shot at Dreamer, but Dreamer blocked. Dreamer's kissing woman again. Dreamer's kissing woman once again. What a kiss he planted on woman's lips. Oh my, Tommy Dreamer. Woman now trying to stop Dreamer. Dreamer's gonna cane woman. Tommy Dreamer's gonna cane woman. The referee's getting in between the two of them. The referee's interjecting himself. Tommy Dreamer has caned the referee. Tommy Dreamer has been disqualified. We just heard the announcement from Bob Ortiz. Tommy Dreamer can't believe it. Tommy Dreamer has just caned our ring announcer, Bob Ortiz. What's going on here? Tommy Dreamer showing no signs for more. Tommy Dreamer continues to cane away on the Sandman. The Sandman is not moving. Tommy Dreamer has gone berserk. Well, the Sandman's not moving. Tommy Dreamer, words just can't describe what we have seen. It's an all-new Tommy Dreamer. Woman now lighting a cigarette while her man, her protege, lays at her feet. I don't understand this. Well, it could have something to do with the kiss from Tommy. Wait a minute. No, he's not moving. What is she doing? Are you kidding me? Wait a minute. He's alive. He's puffing away. I don't believe this. He's moving. I have never seen anything like that. All he needed was a breath of fresh air. He's getting back to his feet. And you could bet, although he's not 100%, he may not be fully conscious. He's thinking Tommy Dreamer. Look at the forehead of the Sandman. That is the handiwork of Tommy Dreamer. And you can bet we have not heard the last of Tommy Dreamer versus the Sandman.
What's wrong, woman?
Nothing.
What's wrong, woman?
I said nothing.
What's wrong, woman? Stop this right here until I find out what's wrong. What's wrong, woman?
All right. You want to know what's wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong. He kissed me again.
He kissed you?
Yeah, he kissed me.
Who kissed you?
Dreamer. Again. A second time. In the middle of the ring. And you know what? He was comparing my kiss to Peaches. Peaches! And you know what else? I think they were in the back of the building kissing. And you know what else? I think they're at your house, drinking your beer, watching your TV, sitting on your couch. Maybe the three of them. Dreamer, Cairo, and Peaches.
Dreamer! You've made your decision. You've left me with no decision. You see what I gotta put up with, Dreamer?
What are you gonna do about it?
It's something you created, Dreamer. Every bitch has it in her, Dreamer. I'm sick and tired of hearing it, Dreamer.
And you're not gonna stop here now. You're gonna
I've
keep going
given
on.
you too many choices, Dreamer. Too many options. I've got to listen to this,
That's right. You're gonna keep
Dreamer.
on listening to it till I
You
get
know
what I
what,
want.
Dreamer?
Do you understand
You
me?
gotta take up smoking, buddy. Oh, man. You got too much time on your hands.
I'm not gonna stop here. I'm gonna keep on bitching till it's ended. Do you understand me? Compare me to teachers. I'll tell you one thing right now, Mr. Man.
Championship Wrestling. This is Joey Styles in the Eagle's Nest, high above the ECW arena, and the air has just become electric as we are less than 4 days away from crowning a new National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion right here in Philadelphia. That's right, Eastern Championship Wrestling, as we all know, has been selected as the organization to host the tournament to crown the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. We have plenty of information, interviews from the contenders in that tournament, all of that and much, much more this week on NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling. Let's not waste any more time. Here's how the field shapes up for this Saturday night's NWA World Title Tournament. The ECW champion, the franchise Shane Douglas, will face the Tasmaniac. Dean Malenko of the world-famous Malenko family will face Osama Nishimura. The winner of Shane Douglas versus the Tasmaniac will face the winner of Malenko versus Nishimura. In bracket number 2, high-flying Too Cold Scorpio takes to the skies, took the line with international superstar Chris Benoit. Wow, what a matchup that is. 911 will face a wild card wrestler. Remember, there is a wild card spot open because Terry Funk dropped out of this tournament. The team with Cactus Jack to face the Public Enemy. The winner of Too Cold Scorpio versus Benoit will face the winner of 911 versus the wild card. The winner of that bracket will face the winner of the first bracket, and there are so many combinations. What an exciting tournament this will be this Saturday night at the ECW Arena.
For those of you who might not know who I am, let me please introduce myself. My name is Dean Malenko, and for the past 15 some odd years, I have been wrestling on the international wrestling circuit in such countries as Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, and parts of Europe. Several weeks ago, I was contacted by the representatives of ECW Championship Wrestling, and at that time, they invited me to partake in what I feel is the most prestigious wrestling tournament ever to be held in the history of pro wrestling, and that is the NWA World Heavyweight Championship Tournament, to be held this upcoming Saturday in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. You know, when you look back at some of the great NWA champions who had one time or another held this belt, from the likes of Gene Kiniski, Dory Funk Jr., Terry Funk, Jack Briscoe, the great New Zealand champion Pat O'Connor, and the 7-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the great Lou Thesz, you can't help but get excited to think that maybe your name could be said in the same breath as these fine gentlemen. Now, for the last couple weeks, I have been preparing myself both mentally and physically for what I feel is going to be a hard task in front of me. There's to be 8 gentlemen that'll be involved in this tournament, and I know the names of the other 7. And when I look at the talent, the array of talent that has been put together for this such tournament, I can't help but get the adrenaline pumping and my mind focused on one thing, and that is to walk away from this tournament with the belt around my waist. They got the Canadian superstar Chris Benoit, Nishimura from Japan, Tasmaniac, the gentleman they call 911, Shane Douglas, and the great high-flying aerial attack of Too Cold Scorpio. Now, when I think as a young boy and the dream I had and the dreams that I wanted to fulfill in my wrestling career, I can only think of one dream, and that is the NWA Championship belt. You know, everybody has dreams, but not everybody gets the opportunity to fulfill a dream. This is my opportunity. This is my time, my moment. When I step in that ring, whoever it's going to be in the first round, I will give 110% of myself. Now, I know a lot of people here in the United States might know my name too well, but when I leave Philadelphia on Saturday night, with or without the belt, I know one thing, that is, that the name Dean Malenko will be in the minds of many. NWA has a long history behind it, and like I said, there's been some great champions that have held this belt, and it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of time. And you know, when I think of Philadelphia, I think of many great sporting teams, the Liberty Bell, but one thing I think of is Rocky Balboa, a guy who had a dream. I'm the Rocky Balboa now.
There you see the man who will face the franchise in round one of the NWA World Title Tournament this Saturday night. Weighing 248 pounds, he has been passed the torch from Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He is the Tasmaniac. Let's go back 6 weeks to see what happened here at the ECW Arena when the Tasmaniac's mystery partner did not show up due to transportation problems. The Tasmaniac has hit the ring. Wait a minute.
I know you're waiting for a mystery Taz partner to come out here. We've had transportation problems. And we're going to postpone this match.
Postpone nothing. The Pitbulls have attacked the Tasmaniac. We're waiting for a mystery Taz partner, mystery tag team partner. However, apparently whoever it was had transportation problems. The airlines or a bus of some sort. But the Pitbulls are wasting no time. They can care less about an official matchup. They are just working over the Tasmaniac, and what a shot on the point of the jaw by Pitbull number one, who is now laying into the Tasmaniac with that chain, and Jason's tag team of the Pitbulls look more vicious than they have ever been. Pitbull number two now choking away the Tasmaniac, and Pitbull one just blatantly goes, wait a minute, there's some noise, there seems to be a disturbance. Somebody's coming down the aisle. Tasmaniac whipped in and dropped by the Pitbulls. Wait, Chad Austin and the Rockin' Rebel are blocking the aisle. Jason Stable, proteges, whatever his flunkies, that Chad Austin and the Rockin' Rebel are blocking off the aisleways so nobody can. And there's Mr. Hughes. Mr. Hughes has come out. Well, Mr. Hughes, we know, is the offensive line for the franchise, Shane Douglas. But apparently Jason has called in a favor and released Mr. Hughes like a big U-Haul truck of some sort, daring people to come from the back to hit the ring, and they're dumb enough to do so. They're getting dropped one by one. Mr. Hughes is wasting no time in laying on everybody. That was Hack Myers who went down at the right hand of Mr. Hughes, and what a right hand it was. It seems there is nobody who can get the Tasmaniac as Mr. Hughes, the Rockin' Rebel, and Chad Austin are holding everybody at bay. And the Tasmaniac is in trouble. He is in definite trouble. The Pitbulls are going to be fine. You know, this was a premeditated attack is what this was. This was no accident. Jason planned this whole thing. You can bet Jason knew the Tasmaniac's partner wasn't here. He's not a stupid man. Wait a minute. Pitbull number two just drops the elbow across the throat of the Tasmaniac, and we have a serious situation developing. The Tasmaniac may be in real danger. It's 911! 911 is coming down the aisle towards Mr. Hughes. Here we go! 911 and Mr. Hughes trading shots, and Mr. Hughes goes reeling backwards. 911 got hold of Rockin' Rebel and Chad Austin. Are they gonna go up? He's thinking choke slam. No! Just as he was about to choke slam him on the concrete, the Roughneck broke that up with a chair, and he is now trying to lay out 911. Mr. Hughes, the Roughneck, still swinging away. 911 refusing to stay down. What a man is 911. The Tasmaniac, meanwhile, in the ring. Are we getting all this? Are we still on? Hello. All right, we're still on the air. Things are getting a little crazy. The Tasmaniac still being worked over by the Pitbulls. 911 being assaulted by Mr. Hughes. Jason just directing traffic. It looks like an auto wreck out here. And Pitbull number one just plants a boot to the forehead of the Tasmaniac. Can anyone stop Jason's truth? Pitbull number two off the rope and stomping the Tasmaniac right in the chest. And again, a well-measured shot this time to the forehead of the Tasmaniac. Now there was a payoff right there. That's what's going on between Jason and Mr. Hughes. Mr. Hughes is not wanting for money. Wait a minute, that's Paulie Dangerously. Paulie has come out to help 911. Jason just attacked Paulie Dangerously. I thought those two were business associates. But Jason has just kicked Paulie Dangerously. The Tasmaniac being whipped in, double close by force of Tasmaniac, and Paulie is being pummeled.
by Jason, the sexiest man on earth. And I thought the fight against all fair is love and war in Eastern Championship Wrestling. There are no friends. The Sabu! Sabu has come out. Sabu has attacked Jason. Sabu's now in the ring, going to work on Pitbull number 2. Sabu and the Tasmaniac, the two most dangerous wrestlers in the sport today, have paired off with the Pitbulls. Sabu at number 2, Taz at number 1. Reversal on the Irish whip. Tasmaniac goes face to face with Sabu. And they're about to square off. The Tasmaniac is going to square. No! They turn around and go back to work on the Pitbulls. This is unbelievable. Belly to belly at Pitbull number 2. Instead flying out of the ring for the Tasmaniac. And Sabu goes out on top. And they were Frankenstein. And in the ring, the Tasmaniac has melted sideways into Tazplex. And a cover, 2 and 3. And the Tasmaniac has pinned the Pitbulls with the help of Sabu.
Hey, what's up? Too Cold in the house in full effect, that's right. ECW in the place to be, check it out. August 27th, Saturday night. If y'all missed this one, y'all missing something y'all would never forget. The NWA tournament is in full effect. Scorp Doggy Dog is in the house. Check it out. I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm on the prowl. This Saturday night, the 27th, y'all be there in the house. The Scorpio is going to be there. The NWA title is on the line. The tournament is going on. You got people coming in from everywhere. They flying in, they driving in, but everybody know somebody's got to go down for 3. And when it's all said and done, everybody know Too Cold, we're gonna put you in deep freeze, baby. That's right. Check it out. I've been to Japan. I've been to Mexico. I've been down there with all kind of folks that everybody ought to know. You know what I'm saying? But check it out. Now you see me, now you don't. Because that's what it's gonna be like when I step in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Because I float like a butterfly, I sting like a bee. And when I drop the bomb on somebody, I will be the NWA Heavyweight Champion. Do you doubt my words? Do you doubt what I'm saying? Well, check it out. It's ECW, where anything can happen. Where you're subject to get your teeth kicked out. Where you're trying to get your tail kicked up to your head. You know what I'm saying? Because when it's all said and done, hi, Scorpio's in the house. Check it out. First round, me and Benoit, Chris Benoit. Damn. Ring technician, hell of an athlete. But I'm one of the greatest high flyers of all time. And when I fly off the top rope, Chris, you're going down for 3. Because the bottom line is, I want to be, and I will be, the NWA Heavyweight Champion. So don't be late. Tune in. Check it out. Get down to the ECW arena. Because you know, Too Cold is in the house in full effect. And when I step to the ring, I mean business. Because it ain't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing on a string. And hey, Benoit, hey, whoop daddy.
Hardcore Heaven continues. 911 make his way towards the ring with manager Paul E. Dangerously. And he is set to square off with the offensive line of Shane Douglas, the Roughneck, Mr. Hugh. What a matchup this should be. There you see Angel, who's in the corner of the Roughneck for this matchup. She's wearing a neck brace, courtesy of 911, who, quite frankly, picked her up and chokeslammed her right here on ECW television some time ago. If Chivalry wasn't dead, he sure as hell buried it. Referee admonishing Shane Douglas for getting a little too close to Paulie and 911. He's not a stupid man. He won't get too close. Shane Douglas taunting the gargantuan 911. For what reason, I have no idea. Psychopath.
And with him is
much power was summoned here to Eastern Championship Wrestling by 3 pushes of a telephone dial. Paulie Dangerously going over the game plan with 911. Very simple. Pick them up, slam them down, choke slam, 3 count. That's the way Paulie Dangerously sees this match. And listen to these fans. I think Paulie may be a little overly optimistic. I think it's going to take more than 1 choke slam up and down to pin Mr. Hughes. I mean, this is the Roughneck, the man who slammed The Undertaker, the man who went after Lex Luger, the man who, quite frankly, at one time, Paulie Dangerously paid to try to take Lawrence Taylor and Lex Luger out of the picture some time ago at the Meadowland in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I was there that night. Paulie knows Mr. Hughes as well as anybody else. They have been business associates. And does that mean Paulie knows the chink in the armor of Mr. Hughes? We have already seen 911 choke slam Mr. Hughes. That had to have had some psychological effect on the huge offensive line. Has Mr. Hughes forgotten? I think not. Shane Douglas and Angel down in the corner of Mr. Hughes. Quite frankly, the franchise looked a little concerned. I mean, he paid a lot of money for the services of Mr. Hughes. Acquired him from Jason, and his investment may be in a little jeopardy tonight as 911 is ready to do business. The franchise now discussing business with Mr. Hughes. Couldn't quite get what Shane Douglas said, but it wasn't too complimentary of 911 and Paulie Dangerously. Both men nose to nose now, face to face, talking trash. Oh, what I love to hear what they're saying. Although I doubt we could broadcast it even here on ECW Home Video. They're going chest to chest. Chest to chest, bumping one another. Reminiscent of Billy Martin. Wow, what a collision, but nobody moved. The ring shifted, but neither one of these 2 men moved an inch. They face off once again. And 911 and Mr. Hughes exchanging right hands. And those are punches that would knock out any ordinary men. Put them in Philadelphia General Hospital, but not these 2. They're just warming up. Mr. Hughes getting the best of this exchange with that vaunted right hand of his. That's the right hand that let The Undertaker rest in peace. And he wasn't ordering pizzas at that time, I can tell you that much. And again. Mr. Hughes just hammering away on the point of the jaw of 911. Does he think 911 is a glass jaw? Mr. Hughes has 911 by the throat. Choking away on 911. Perhaps that's his strategy for wearing the big man down. Wait a minute. Oh, my choke slam! Mr. Hughes has choke slam! 911, cover that dick! 2 and no! 911 got the right shoulder up! 911 escaped his own choke slam! But can you believe that Mr. Hughes was able to get 911 up? 911 is back to his feet! And he looks a little perturbed at that! Can anything stop this man? 911. Well, ask a stupid question, get an obvious answer. Mr. Hughes, out of desperation, punches for the bottom floor on the elevator. And Mr. Hughes continuing to use those straight right hands. You know, I didn't think we were going to see flying head scissors and drop toe holds. This is exactly what we thought it would be, a street fight between a roughneck and a man who was too tough for even the most fearsome of motorcycle gangs. Whip in, going for the sidewalk slam, but 911 blocks it. He's got the roughneck by the throat, up and down. There's the choke slam, 1, 2, and 3, and 911 has pinned the roughneck, Mr. Hughes. And the franchise waffles the psycho yuppie. Oh boy, and he's going to pay a price for that as 911 is in the face of the franchise. Shane Douglas just pulled Angel in the way. What a gentleman. What a knight in rusting armor. He wouldn't choke slam her again. Well, thank heaven Paulie is pulling her off. Oh, why would she do that? Oh no, Paulie now giving 911 the go-ahead. Oh, this is gonna be ugly. He's got her by the throat. Up and down goes Angel. Paulie now take up. You think he managed ravishing Rick Rude for a little too long? Well, ravishing Paulie bumping and grinding over Angel. Apparently doesn't like there's something in the air he's not enjoying too much. But can you believe that 911? Wait a minute. He's got the microphone. Heaven help us all.
Hey, Shane! Come on back here and get your dead smelling fish out of the way, man!
What did he say? What? He can't say that. We can't leave that in, not even a video. Somebody better edit that out. He can't say that. Paulie giving Angel her last rites. He's Jewish and doesn't care. It's too late for his soul anyway. Oh no, not again. 911 is grabbing hold of the prone Angel. Picking up her carcass once again. I wouldn't want to be hurt for any amount of money. Up and down goes Angel again. And I don't think we'll be seeing Angel anytime soon.
What do you tell the people? Do you explain to them that the NWA was the first organization to ever crown a World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion all the way back in 1905? Do you explain to them that it's common knowledge that the NWA wants to have the third World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship? That the WWE has a World Heavyweight Champion named Bret the Hitman Hart who defends his title all over the globe? That the WCW World Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan next month will be traveling all over the world to defend his title? Do you then explain to the people that the NWA wants to step up to the plate, wants to compete with the WWE, wants to compete with WCW, and the NWA knows that after a year of politics and diplomacy and lawsuits and threats and boasts and brags and backstabbing among the promoters, that they finally have come together to unify and declare one man the best that wrestling has to offer, the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion? Do you sit there and try to analyze how each of the 8 men that are involved have different motivations, have different reasons for wanting to be the World's Heavyweight Champion? Whether it be Dean Malenko, who has something to prove to his family, whether it be Too Cold Scorpio, who wants to provide something better for his family, whether it be the franchise Shane Douglas, who wants to prove something to the world, whether it be Chris Benoit, a protege, the Dynamite Kid, who just wants it for that personal satisfaction of knowing that he's the best wrestler in the world today. Do you want to think about Osama Nishimura, who wants to go back to Japan with the world's heavyweight title and achieve the recognition that's only been achieved in New Japan Pro Wrestling by people like Antonio Inoki and Masa Chono and the great Muda? I mean, you go down the list. How about the Tasmaniac? I mean, here's the guy. If you ever doubted the Tasmaniac's authenticity, I guarantee you, step into the ring with him and try to block one of his suplexes. When he gets his hands on you, he will earn your respect. I guarantee you. Is it the mystery man, the wild card drawing that nobody seems to know who this Joker is? Is it going to be 911, whose motivation simply is because I want to control the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion? There's so many things for me to say to you people. So little time for me to expostulate on the virtues of the next man to be crowned the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, do I call somebody on the phone and ask them their opinion? What do I do to convey to you people the importance of this Saturday night? Do I sit here and say, hey, the Public Enemy is going to fight the most hardcore tag team that's ever been put together in the history of professional wrestling, Cactus Jack and Terry Funk? Do I sit here and tell you that Terry Funk hates the Public Enemy so much that he backed out of the NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling title tournament just to get his hands on the Public Enemy? Terry Funk, who hasn't been the NWA World Heavyweight Champion since February 6, 1977, when he submitted to Harley Race in Toronto to the Indian Deathlock, when he already had 2 knee surgeries in the previous month. Terry Funk, who's wanted to be the NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, pulls out of the tournament just to get his hands on the Public Enemy, which leaves 1 slot open, and the other 7 men are grateful that Funk aren't in it because each man wants to represent professional wrestling going into the future. What do I need to tell you people? What do you want to know? How do I convey to you the importance of this Saturday night? Here's what I have to say. This Saturday night, professional wrestling fans all over the world, the hell with you. This comes down to me. I don't like what wrestling's all about anymore. I don't like what the sport has become. I don't like the shape that wrestling is in. So what do you do when you're in trouble? Huh? Do you sit down? Do you pray? Or do you call someone for help? I'm calling someone for help. I'm reaching out to the Messiah of the wrestling world. This Saturday night, I bring to you the savior of professional wrestling. The whole wrestling world will call 911.
Saturday night, August 27th, the night that I've waited for all my life. I grew up watching professional wrestling and the best at it. I grew up hearing stories about the fabled great wrestlers of the past, the Frank Gotches. I heard about the Harley Races. I heard about the true nature boy, Buddy Rogers. I watched the great Bruno Sammartino, the living legend himself, person, live at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. I've seen the greats. I've heard all the stories about the greats. And now on one certain night, August 27th, it couldn't be in Ted Turnerville, Atlanta, Georgia. It couldn't be in Land, Stamford, Connecticut. It could only be one place, ECW Arena, live in Philadelphia. It's the night I've waited for all my life as a professional wrestler. I've seen people calling themselves champion and ripping shirts off their back. Gimmick shirts. How many times I've seen it, it's made me sick. People from Hollywood, starring in TV shows that are bottom ranked, saying that they're world heavyweight champion. Well, I ain't never been to Hollywood, although I'm good enough to looking to be there. I ain't never had the chance as a 50-year-old to walk into the ring and say I'm still champion because some corporation says I'm champion. I hold this gold right here. And when I go to bed at night, zoom in here and see it around my neck, close to my heart. I know that I am the greatest heavyweight champion in the world today. It ain't Hulk Hogan. It ain't the American dream, Dusty Rhodes, if you will. It ain't the man who bounces around when he gets in the ring called, woo, Ric Flair. Saturday night, August 27th, in the tournament to decide who is the true world's heavyweight champion, yours truly has been seated number 1. That gives me the step up on the competition. And that night, I tell you in front of the whole world that my heart will have to stop beating before I leave the ring, not as champion. You see, it goes like this. It's called professional wrestling. I have to step up on becoming the next wrestling champion of the world. I ain't no entertainer. What I am is exactly what I say I am, the franchise of professional wrestling in 1994. Now, big man, I make a promise to you in front of the whole world watching today that when I win the NWA's heavyweight title, I'm going to give you more cheerleaders than you had playing for the Wildcats at Kansas State, more cheerleaders than you ever had playing for the Dallas Cowboys. You're going to have more women than you know what to do with, big man.
You see, I don't need all that. I don't need no women. I don't need no money. You see, all I need is for you to win that title.
You know something, big man? I got a little secret for you. Excuse us for just a minute. You know, big man,
secretary that I know a little bit down at the ECW arena, she tells me, and this is on confidential now, brother, she tells me that 911 is also seated in the tournament.
What?
That's right, big man.
Well, let me tell you this, and let me tell you stinking people out there. 911, you have no business in this profession today. What you just did to me and what I got in store for you. You barked up the wrong tree this time, boy. You will go down with the sidewalk slam this time. I guarantee it.
August 27th, big man, take all the money, mortgage the house and bet the bank that the franchise in 1994 proves exactly what he said all along, that I am the anointed one in professional wrestling and that I will become heavyweight champion of the world.
Hey, I'd like to tell you a little story. Do you have a time for a story from Cactus Jack? It's a true story, the only kind I tell. It's about Terry Funk, my partner, this coming week against the Public Enemy. It's February 1990, my first pay-per-view with WCW. Cactus Jack had just finished stinking up the building against Norman the Lunatic. Later that night in a Holiday Inn about 6 miles from the Motel 6 where I was staying, Nature Boy Ric Flair was having a birthday party. I don't know why I was invited. I don't really know Rick that well. I didn't know him then, still don't. But Kevin Sullivan liked me, and he's friends with Rick, so he said, hey, Cactus, come on. And while I was there, Terry Funk was talking to me in that vague way of telling parables that only Terry and Jesus can. And someone came up to me, a former WCW employee, and said, you know what, Terry, I think you like Cactus because you see a little bit of yourself in him. And Terry kind of thought about it. He looked at me, and in words that I'll never forget, he said, I don't see shit in him. But he kind of gave me a little wink that made me think that, hey, maybe that former WCW employee was right on the mark. And Terry, I tell you something, I think he is. You see, this past week, 2 weeks ago, Terry, you and I, for the first time, one-on-one, a match that ECW fans wanted to see a conclusion, and to tell you the truth, so do I. Because I've been in this business 9 years, and I don't really know how good I am. But Terry Funk is a living, breathing legend. Doing moonsaults at 50, I only hope I can get out of my wheelchair at the same age. And I had a chance to test myself, but hey, Public Enemy thought that was not to be. So Johnny Grunge, Rocco Rock, now you've got to deal with me. And I don't know if you know it, but I've been living through a corporate nightmare for the past 4 months. You don't believe me? You don't think Cactus Jack's been a little hard to get along with? Then ask my kids. Ask my wife. Ask the WCW front office. I got just a little bit of aggression built up. And Johnny Grunge, Flyboy Rocco Rock, maybe you're not completely to blame, but you're gonna suffer from it just the same. This coming week, I'm coming not just for revenge, but for your titles. Bang, bang!
Irish whipping on Terry Funk. Funk hits hard. Face first goes Terry Funk into the canvas. No! This is how Cactus Jack lost an ear. Cactus Jack lost an ear just this way. And Cactus goes face first into the steel support. This is hardcore heaven, and the fans here in the ECW arena are being treated to what is truly a great night of wrestling. Wait a minute, here comes the Public Enemy. The Public Enemy is assaulting Terry Funk. What the hell are they doing out here? But Jack doesn't want to cover Funk. I don't understand this. While Jack refusing to have his hands raised in victory by the Public Enemy, they just beat the hell out of him too. Well, Cactus Jack and Terry Funk have made a statement, and I believe they have made two enemies for life. Oh my God. talk about hardcore. I've got nothing left to say. This has been hardcore heaven and a night of wrestling as only Eastern Championship Wrestling can do it. Fans, we thank you so much for joining us. This is Joey Styles signing off from ringside in the ECW Arena. We'll see you next time.
Hey, champ.
Hey, champ.
Hey, champ.
Hey, champ, what time is it?
East Coast or West Coast?
It's Public Enemy time.
And I'll tell you what time it's going to be this Saturday night when PE steps into that ECW arena one more time, baby, for a title defense. Well, something we become good at, and that's defending these titles, because we are the ECW champs, tag team champs, and that is the champs of the most violent promotion in professional wrestling today, and proud of it, because there's nothing better we love than making someone bleed.
I tell you what, Terry Funk, what are you going to do? Johnny, what's he going to do? I tell him I don't want no sporting event. I tell him this ain't going to be no wrestling match. I told him this ain't no movie, Johnny, right?
Exactly, Rocco.
And what's he do? He gets on the television, Johnny. He starts asking for a wrestling match. You coward, Terry Funk. You're a yellow belly sapsucker, and you're lying on your belly. I'm gonna reach down and grab your liver and eat it myself while your partner watches.
And speaking of partner, Rocco, Cactus Jack, you made the biggest mistake of your life, Ugly. You made the biggest mistake of your life, because we knew you couldn't beat Terry Funk. So we come out to give you a helping hand. And what do? You turn your back on us with Cactus Jack. You say you are homeless. Well, there's a big difference between homeless and being a hoodie. Because Cactus Jack, you're the homeless type of person that sits around a park bench, craps in his pants, drinks cheap wine, and urinates all over himself and talks about it for 3 or 4 days. Well, Cactus Jack, that ain't what we're about. Flyboy Rocco Rock and Johnny Grudge always had the finest of everything. Finest automobiles.
Maybe we had to hijack him, Johnny.
Always wore the finest clothes.
Well, beat a few people up for him.
Always sporting around with nice jewelry.
Oh, we had to take a few fingers.
Or maybe had all the women we wanted.
So we paid for him.
Cactus Jack, this Saturday night, after we bust Terry Funk wide open and make him bleed all over the ECW arena, we're going to take you each by an ankle, Rocco, and we're going to wipe the floor up with that long, nappy hair head of yours. And you know what, Cactus? We're going to enjoy it, because we're the ECW Tag Team Champs.
We are the Public Enemy.
Naughty by nature.
And violent by design.